Hi, everyone. My name is Wendy Glenn, and I am a homeschool mom of three.
Hi, and I'm Jennifer Cole, and I'm a homeschool mom of one.
And today we are going to kind of dive a little deeper into the high school experience, or what we use as a high school experience, which is actually college. And I feel like people think that we were, in our last video, kind of really pushing college, and not like so many people say, well, even though we talked about it, but people say, oh, well, I don't want my kid to go to college, or my kid isn't college material. They're more of a trade. Well, Jennifer and I have talked about this, and a lot of our local colleges, right? Our state colleges are your normal 2-year degree colleges, right? Um, they ours anyway offer um a lot of trades.
Right. So
And
we're
so
not
we
so
wanted to
much
dive into
pushing,
that.
yeah, we're
Yes.
not so much pushing college as we are pushing education because there's a
Yes.
lot of ways that you could educate yourself and prepare yourself for a career in the future without going to college. Right.
Yes.
So you don't have to
Yes.
be stuck in this, oh, I don't want to go to school, because what you're going to do is learn a trade. And should I share the one for our local college here? And I
Yes.
can
Yes.
show some examples here. I'm going to share my screen and we can take a look at this. This is Lamar Orange, local community college. A lot of your community colleges are going to have similar websites with similar parts to them.
Yes.
Uh,
And this is exactly what my son did. And this is the college that my oldest son, had started out as. And he went and did all of his classes online, because the degree that he got, which was just a business degree, it is offered, all the classes that he needed to graduate with his associate's degree are all offered online. However, Jennifer's son is going to have a different experience.
And we're going to be doing some classes online and some classes actually at the university. So if we look here, you'll see that there are a number of different placement tests that you can take to get in. And we will be doing another video to focus specifically on the TSI assessment.
Yes.
They also have, some of them have vaccination requirements, and they also do have waivers that you can sign for this. So no worries if you are a vaccine person, great. And if you are not, also not a big deal. Sign a piece of
At least
paper,
we're in
email it off.
Texas.
Right.
Yeah,
And this is just strictly a
in
Texas law.
Texas.
Yes, this
Yes.
is Texas
But
law.
and I will say this, that where my son did not go on campus, he did not have to have the vaccine or even do the waiver, because all of his classes were online and he was not on campus. Where Jennifer's son is either going to have to get it or do the waiver, because he will be going to classes on campus.
Yes, yes.
So,
So we will
yes.
be signing the waiver. We aren't getting, but that's
And
just our option. Like that's our
yes,
choice.
well, I mean, and Jennifer's son is still really young. I mean, we're talking about high school here, and in fact, Jennifer's son is even younger than high school currently.
Yeah, he's
So,
12.
but he is going to
So
be starting in August. I'm so super proud of him.
yes. Okay, let me share one more time here, and I'm just going to show you some of the options. So I know you can't see our faces when we're sharing the screen here. Um, So they do have free courses for people who have issues with paying. I'm sure there's all kinds of different financial aid programs at your school, so you'll have to go to your local community college to find that out. This one in
Yes.
particular has reduced credit hour rates for dual credit
Yes.
and reduced credit hour rates for, and here we go, with all of these technical courses that actually lead to jobs in the future, process operator, construction, cosmetology, all of these sorts of things,
Welding, marine,
welding,
yeah,
yeah,
maritime, the maritime
pharmaceutical
one.
technology. There's all kinds of things. So even if your kids are not wanting to go to school for electrical engineering or whatever it is, they could always still go to these classes at reduced prices for cosmetology or process operation or even real estate, and $45 a credit hour versus the normal
It,
$145 a
no,
credit hour or whatever it is. It's a
no,
lot more
you
than
might
that.
want to go up. I think it's like 300 or
Might be
something.
300. I don't know. But anyway, it's once you become an adult and you don't qualify for this anymore, the rates go back to normal adult rates. And we all know
Yes,
college is expensive. This is
absolutely.
a way for your kids to go very cheaply.
Yes. And I kind of want to remind everyone here too. So my oldest son, again, he did his associates through our local community college. I graduated him from high school recently, and he did actually get into two different colleges. He got into one here in Texas, and he actually got into UT. He actually just got
Mhm.
his acceptance letter the other day in the mail. You know, he's weighing his options. He would like to go to UT. I do not want him to go to UT. I'll be honest, it's far away, right? He's still young to me, even though he is an adult. He's 19, but it's just cheaper for him to go and stay in state. Jennifer and I have had this conversation with him, and he still is. His heart is set. He loves Utah. He loves, I mean, the mountains and all that kind of stuff, but he did get accepted into the only two colleges he applied for. I just want to remind everybody that you can homeschool your kids. They can still go to college. And it's not like I guess a deal breaker. It's still pretty easy, to get into college or to go on to a trade or any of the above or whatever it is that your child does want to do. It's just a step up, right? And it's a step in the right direction. My son has 2 years left before he gets his bachelor's because he has his associates already. And Stephen F. Austin actually transferred 60 of his credits that he had at Lamar Orange. He has more
Mhm.
than 60 credits, but they only transferred 60 of them. So he goes in as a freshman junior.
Technically a freshman because it's first year there, but also
Yes,
technically a junior because he's already taken the first 2 years worth of courses. So he will not need
exactly.
to take 4 years of college at
It's
this point.
because
Half of it's done.
yes, yeah, exactly. I mean, so it's kind of like he will graduate in 2 years with his bachelor's degree, and it's because he's a freshman because everything that he has taken has been dual credit. So it's been high school. So they see that as high school, but he does have the credits to be a junior as well. So he kind of gets the benefit and the best of both worlds.
Mhm. All right.
And now Orion, when he goes,
Mhm.
he is going to be like we talked about, he's going to be doing some at home with
Yes.
Jennifer.
Yes.
And then he's going to be doing some on campus because
Hmm.
he is going into, I'd like to say, more of a kind of a trade type program
Well, it's
where he has
computer
to have a lot of
science.
hands on, right?
Yeah.
He has to have hands on,
So what he's
so he does
doing,
have to go to class.
yeah, is a little more involved where they really need to watch you and you need to participate in class. So he's going to school for computer science, which it's not a trade because he will need to finish that degree and
Yes,
get his Bachelor of Science at
yes.
university. Um, but it is more in-depth and hands-on, and you need to be in front of a computer and they need to watch you. But at the school, when I did call the admissions office, they had a lot of experience with many types of children and the classes, and they said kids like him with ASD do surprisingly well at in-school classes, on campus, and this course of study in particular because it's it's his it's his bag. It's his thing. So computers is where it's at for him. So yeah, I think he's going to do really well and I'm very optimistic. And she said he'll be fine. So I'm not worried.
Yes. So now do you want to go over? I know. Okay. So before we chose what school Dylan was going to go to, we went in person and kind of interviewed a couple of our local community colleges, right?
Mhm.
To decide which one Dylan wanted to go to. So when we did that, we went and talked to the counselors. They walked us through the dual credit programs and what he could do, what was going to be offered, what he could do online. And at the time, the two different ones that we went to, one of them had a lot of 8-week classes, and one of them said most of their classes are 16 weeks. And Dylan wanted to do two classes of 8 weeks and then 2 classes of 8 weeks. So that was 4 classes full time, because 4 classes a semester is full time, and
Mhm.
he was doing 4 classes a semester. Um, that being said, that was a big deciding factor for us of what school he was going to go to, and then he just kind of picked a degree that that school had that he could mostly do in the whole 8 week class type setting. And I know Jennifer called a couple of places. And what
Mhm.
happened when you called the places? All the places.
Well, the bigger university has a lot more people to deal with. So, I mean, they're treating you more like a number. So you have to fill out a very extensive application with a lot of information and get an acceptance and get a student ID number before they'll even really talk to you about the classes or the programs or the course of study or that sort of thing. If you go to a smaller community college, which was my next phone call, um, I said, well, how do I get my questions answered? And she was like, what are your questions? And
Ask
she's,
them.
go ahead. I'm the help desk, right? And it was the same person. And she stayed on the phone with me for at least 30 minutes, maybe 45, going over every single question that I had. And then explaining the application process, what the classes were like, what her experience was, which classes you should take 16-week versus 8, she went through a lot of things. And then even like quelled my concerns about him going on campus with autism. So it was a huge deal for me to get that kind of personal attention with just a phone call and no appointment. Whereas the other school, being much, much larger, was like, well, we'll talk to you, but not right now. Here's a real quick rundown. Fill out all this stuff. Here's 10 emails. And, in 2 weeks, maybe we'll set up an appointment to talk. So that was I don't know. I was kind of like, well, I think I would rather have a smaller establishment with a more personal touch, especially for him. The other thing is, remember, we talked about ending dates, right? And I told her, I don't know about deciding an end date yet because I'm very concerned. He may take a little bit longer, and I'm
Mhm.
worried about that. And she was like, look, you were talking about something that's not going to happen for like 4 or 5 more years.
If not
Let's,
longer. Because
yeah, he's,
let's be real. I mean, I would give him you could, because like I remember the joke of Dylan, right? When we went into the dual credit, and she told me, whatever you put on this paper as his graduation date, that is the last date that he can do dual credit. And Dylan made the joke, very straight faced in Dylan manner that um if he could make his graduation date, what, 2035. And she was a little taken back by that, but she's like, well, you can do whatever you want, you guys are homeschoolers. Obviously well past any date that he would have been graduating.
yeah.
That's still 10 years away. He would be 29 at that point, and it's only a 2-year college.
Yeah.
So,
Well, she told me, she was like, look, all of that is negotiable. Like,
yeah,
we can talk
especially,
about that later. Like, you don't have to worry about that right now. Because I wanted to be able to ease him in, right? So I'm like, I don't know if we can finish this in even 4 years. If we only do two
oh
classes at a
yeah.
time, and if I'm only doing a little at a time, and then we have to pass the TSI, we still need algebra. Like, there's things that need to happen. And she is like, don't worry about
Well, I mean, technically,
it.
technically, he's not going to be, he's your son is not even 13 yet. He will be soon. But even going on the 13, he still has quite a few years before he's even 19. No,
Yeah.
I mean, Dylan's 19 when he graduates. So he's got
Mm,
at least another six. You could put it 6 or even 7 years out if you wanted
yeah.
to.
Yeah. Well, I just want him to be able to not feel rushed, to take his time, and to really learn the material so that when he gets to university, he's comfortable and, he doesn't feel too much pressure because the situation of going to a university and leaving home will already be plenty enough pressure. I don't need school to be pressure. So if we get him, sufficiently educated over a long period of time, then it won't be stressful, you know.
Yes.
So, anyways,
That's
so yeah,
yes.
my experience,
Yes.
smaller school was better for me. Now, I don't know. Some of your kids may want to be doing the whole giant school experience, and maybe that's That's the thing. But the courses of study were identical at both schools for me, like at least for, computer information and for computer science, they were really identical. And then the local college that does the tech school, like that does the process operating and cosmetology and all of that, they don't have anything like what we were looking for. So that was definitely like, I didn't have to worry about trying to consider that school.
Hmm.
So just out of the two, the smaller one seemed better. And I don't mind driving the 30 minutes to take him there if I need to at some point. I work remotely, so if I needed to, I can always work on my laptop while he's in classes. So I'm fine with that. That's not a problem. So it's closer to your house.
You can always come visit us. You
I
can
can
come
always
teach
come
class
visit.
here because I still have littles, you know. You can still come teach class. We'll let you, right?
So, all right. And do you want to look at the transcripts now?
Um, well, how much time do we have?
Um, all right, we're about 40 minutes in. We can do a,
Yeah, we'll do another one for transcripts.
okay. All
And we
right.
won't sit, we won't keep them, oops, look, we won't keep them too long, right? We'll
Yes.
let them go through as they need to.
All right.
So we will talk to you all later. We'll see you later. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and all of the things, right? All
Yes.
of the
Yes.
things.
Thank you. We'll see you again soon.
Bye.
Bye.